you don't want this smoke from the shot.
No.
So
No,
shoot your shot.
no, that's
Yes,
Okay.
such. Mitch,
yes.
we're changing the lyrics. We're
Damien,
changing the
Damien,
lyrics.
keep it
We're changing the
real.
lyric. I can understand how you're attracted to my man, but you don't want this smoke, so shoot your shot with someone else.
I feel like this is a Fox News interpretation of the lyrics,
No,
and we've got
no,
a
no,
bit
no,
left.
no.
You took shoot your shot with someone else as Beyonce is shooting someone, just to clarify. Mitch.
Victor.
Mitch?
Hey, it's a brotherhood. Woohoo!
Hey everyone, it's your bro, Mitch Kimbro, and I'm here with the Bros of Bro Code. This is the place where we chat about the ladies of The View. So, bros, on Behind the Table, The View's podcast, Joy Behar says that Dolly Parton, the original version of Jolene, is anti-feminist.
I just think that the original thing with Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
I mean, is so like anti-feminist about worrying about some good-looking woman taking your man. If it's so easy to take your man, then take him.
Right. No, I think that's right. But I mean,
Beyonce says, if you take my man, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
And I say, go ahead, take my man. Take him.
Dolly Parton is begging this woman. Beyonce is warning this woman. And I think
Yes!
those are two separate things. And I
Right.
do think that both are relatable. Victor, do you think Joy Behar is correct?
I don't think that anti-feminist was the right term. Just as Sunny was saying, back in 1973, women couldn't have their own bank accounts. And there was that idea of this gender roles and heteronormativity.
About it, when Dolly wrote that, it was 1973, right? That's when it came out.
Yeah.
And so women couldn't even have their own bank accounts then. And
Well,
so
her husband did, apparently.
her husband did. But what she's trying, I think, what she was saying was, I'm so dependent on this man. I love this man so much. Please don't take him if you can.
So the woman was meant to have a level of subservience and dependence on the man. And I think when you write music and songs, it reflects those experiences at the time. Like, you can look at Respect by Aretha Franklin. You can look at lots of songs in the past, and they still stand today as being feminist anthems. I don't think that Jolene translate in that same way today, which is what Joy was trying to say. I don't think anti-feminist was the right term.
I think it works today too, though, because if you really think about it this way, I think that a woman is allowed to have more than one feeling, and I think she's allowed to be able to feel that she can want this man and not want this person to take her away from him, and still be a feminist and still like have her own rights and still do whatever she wants to do. Sometimes people mix feminists with having to be so hard and strong, and there is some joy and softness, and there is a lot of strength and softness. I think it's actually super feminist to not only call out the woman, but also take it in a way that she wasn't really scorning Jolene, more or less, that she was just stating that, like, you're a beautiful girl and you can take my man, leave him alone. Especially because that song was recorded in 1973. Before women literally could vote without their husbands. I think it's kind of weird to call someone who is such a pioneer for women's rights anti-feminist, especially someone like Dolly Parton, who has been just a catalyst for not only women's rights, but queer rights as well.
I agree more with Eric on this one. I feel like that's a ridiculous statement to make. We have to look at, first of all, I love Joy Behar. Let me say that. I really do love her a lot. We need to consider the time, like Eric said, 1973. Women back in that time really did think like that. And there are some to this day that still do. They still have that mindset of please, please, like what I got, that will call up the other woman and be like, hey, what do I have to do? Please don't take this man from me. There are women that still do that. I don't think it was anti-feminist. I think Joy went a little too far to the, is it left? Is it left wing? Yeah, to the left on this one. Like, come on, Joy, reel it back in. Then that was a little too far.
I love this about Bro Code. I wish watching The View, that episode where they discussed this, that someone would have challenged Joy a little bit more on
Yeah.
her statement that she made on Behind the Table,
Yes,
because I think that it's fair that what Victor said about the wrong word was used with
Yeah.
100%.
anti-feminists.
hmm
Which version of Jolene do the bros prefer? We're gonna have different thoughts on this, but Damien, which one are you gonna get your iPod
Not
and
the iPod.
Which one are you
Not the
listening
good old
to?
fashioned
The
2007
iPod.
iPod.
It's
Um,
2024.
I can't believe I'm saying this because I have always loved Jolene, but I really like Beyonce's better. And I can't
Ah!
believe I can't believe I'm saying it because I'm such a Dolly fan and I love the original so much too. But it's something about the Beyonce version that kind of does empower you a little bit. Kind of does, if you are going through something where your man or your woman or whomever is creeping and sneaking and geeking around, you can
Ooh,
listen to
ooh,
this
ooh.
song and say, okay, and kind of
No
feel where
creeping,
she's coming
creeping.
from versus we're listening to the other one, the Dolly version. You might cry a little bit listening to it, like, damn, sorry, I love you, Dolly, I love you.
Oh, how about you, Victor?
I'm with I'm with Damien on this one. I'm gonna have to go with my girl, Beyonce. I think that I think Dolly Parton is so incredible, and I think she's written so many amazing songs. And just as it was an honor, and it was a huge thing for Dolly Parton for Whitney Houston to cover "I Will Always Love You," I think
I was gonna say
Beyonce
that.
covering Jolene brings a different dimension and takes the song in a different
Hmm.
direction. And as a songwriter, people are saying, "Oh, but she's changing the lyrics and blah 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 blah." Listen, that we have two things in songwriting. We have master rights and we have publishing rights. So the publishing rights pertains to the composition. So the people who wrote it, and Beyonce is giving Dolly Parton 100% of the publishing, composition, songwriting. She's getting all of that money. So Beyonce is not taking any money from that part. What Beyonce is getting is a master right, which pertains to the production, the recording of that actual track. So
How she changed.
Dolly is posting that she loves her on Instagram. So are the Beatles, who love the cover of their song too, because they're having a nice weekend at the bank this weekend, I'm sure, and weekends from now on. So I think Beyonce's
Ah!
version is amazing, and thank God, because our girl Dolly Parton can get all of that cash. So I love it.
Eric?
I'm so torn because there's a
It's
day I'm gonna
hard.
wake up and want B, and there's a day I'm gonna wake up and want Dolly. But like B, I'm gonna give it to Dolly. I'm gonna give it to Dolly because there's just something so descriptive about the way she wrote the original lyrics. She describes her hair. She describes how beautiful she is. There's just something so lyrically delicious about the way that Dolly wrote that song. That it's, I mean, and again, I'm not taking away from B because her harmonies are disgusting. They make me sick, and I want to vomit. I don't understand how she does it, but I will always. It's just that
In a good
original
way.
No,
version in a good way. Yes, in a good way.
Because
no,
Like
Behar would
she
take
make me
honestly.
that and
gag. Like
run.
I'm sick. I'm getting hives because it's so good.
Uh, I
What about
I
you,
Ah,
Mitch?
what about Mitch?
I don't love that Beyonce changed the lyrics because, like I said earlier, Dolly Parton is begging this woman. Beyonce is warning this woman, and then later
Hmm.
on this song, you hear Beyonce's threatening to shoot this woman.
I just
I,
don't think it was
I don't
as
know.
violent. I don't think
Yeah,
it
I
was
just don't see her
necessarily
really shooting
violent.
anybody.
Yeah, I think it was a play on words. It was a play on like the style. Oh, Mitch, don't feel that
Yes, he does not.
way.
Well, listen, we say what we mean. We say what we
No, of
mean.
course.
We say what we
But
mean, and
that's
no,
not poetry. That's not Shakespeare. Does not say what it means. That's not true. I think art and lyrical art, including poetry and music, does not say explicitly what it means.
What does she say?
To
Let's find the lyrics.
ooh, lyric
Uh,
check.
okay, fact check.
I'm looking. I just want to be clear, make sure see what she's saying.
Okay,
I don't see
facts.
anything about shooting her, Mitch.
hold on.
Ooh,
I see where she says, "But you don't want this smoke, so shoot your shot with someone else." Is that what you're referring to?
because this is what you said. You said Beyonce said she was gonna shoot someone. You took shoot your shot with someone else as Beyonce shooting someone. Just to clarify.
I can easily understand why you're attracted to my man, but you don't want this smoke, so shoot your shot with someone else. You heard me.
Mitch.
Victor.
Mitch.
Victor.
Mitch.
Listen, that
Shoot
was
your
my
shot.
interpretation.
go of pride and pursue someone you are interested in. Like, you try to
Yeah.
get with
Yeah.
me, shoot your shot.
That for me, that phrase is something else. When I hear something like
You
that,
heard it
I
differently.
I heard it
What?
Okay.
differently.
What she
Okay.
I listened
had
to it
heard was,
on my
Hmm.
iPod. I heard it differently. I
Well,
did. I
what
did.
what what ha- what was said was something different, but that's all you heard. But there's no way you can interpret
go
that
find someone
lyric
else.
as shooting the woman or shooting anyone in that
No,
situation. He just
listen,
said, "I'm going to shoot
excuse,
anyone."
like, listen. I think
Your
that's the thing we're
excuse,
talking about. We're talking about interpretation. We're talking about interpretation.
right?
If you didn't know that lingo, I could see how somebody could maybe take it that way, but you don't want this smoke, so shoot your shot
Smoke.
with someone
When
else.
you do shoot, there's a
No,
possibility you
but you
have
don't
I
to
want
knew the
this
kill
phrase
smoke.
though.
someone.
Yeah, but you don't want this smoke is also a phrase. It means you don't want me to get mad. That's what it means.
Right.
Like, you don't want me
You
to
don't
get
want no
all
smoke.
upset. You don't want this smoke, mama. You sure don't want this smoke.
You don't want this smoke from the shot.
No.
So
No,
shoot your shot.
no,
Okay.
that's
Yes.
Mitch. We're changing the
Dang
lyrics. We're
it.
changing the
Dang it.
lyrics.
Keep it
We're changing the
real.
lyrics.
You don't
No.
want this. You
We're
don't want this smoke, Eric. That is a
no,
previous
mama,
Mitch,
shot.
Mitch,
Come
mama.
Mitch,
on. Come
Mitch,
on. Come.
Mitch,
Beehive, start
No.
Mitch,
thieving.
Mitch. So this, I feel like this is a Fox News interpretation of the lyric,
No.
and we've got
No,
a
no,
bit
no,
left.
no.
So what we need to do, Mitch, is we're hit bro code audience. Let me speak to you guys. So Mitch, we need to help him pay for some tuition. He needs to learn some lingo, and we're taking him to the Urban Dictionary School so he can learn some sayings, and we can teach him some slang and some English. So we are going to help Mitch get it together today, so that next time he knows when you say. So Mitch, when someone says at the bar, you're gonna shoot your shot at him. They're not telling. Don't get out your gun. Don't pull the trigger. That's not what they're saying. They're saying you can approach
Holy
them
shit.
romantically.
No, it
Well,
honestly,
I mean,
listen,
she's being clear. She says, shoot your shot with someone else.
Go be a trick
and
somewhere
you don't
else.
want
Go
this
be a trick with
smoke.
someone else.
Eric,
She
you
said,
don't
but you
want
don't.
this smoke.
I'm gonna read it to you. I can understand how you're attracted to my man, but you don't want this smoke, so shoot your shot with someone else. What is violent about that, mama?
Or maybe it's is
It
it called double entendre? Maybe it's like
That's the
a
thing. There's a double
simile or
entendre. There's a double
but
I just
entendre
feel like,
there.
mm,
But
when
I
I
don't
hear it, I don't
understand.
think of
I
pow
don't
pow.
understand. I don't understand saying you don't want this smoke. Shoot your shot with someone else. Beyonce's not saying I'm shooting my
You
shot at
don't
you.
want this.
She's saying shoot your
No, no,
shot
no, no.
at someone else.
You don't want this smoke.
she
You
said
don't
you
What
want
don't
about
this
want.
smoke
smoke.
from the
So
gun?
shoot your shot with someone else. Shoot your shot with someone else. You don't want this smoke. This smoke
Because
from
she's a
my
cowgirl. The whole
gun. My
it's
smoke from
called
my
Cowboy Caviar.
gun.
Or not caviar. Carter.
You
Not
don't want the
caviar.
smoke from
Not
my
caviar.
gun. You don't want the smoke from my gun.
It
That's
does
the
not say that.
thing.
It is. She does not say smoke. She says you don't want this smoke,
That's the interpretation.
So shoot your shot with someone
but you don't
else.
want your
Shot.
smoke is like
Your shot comes from a gun.
no.
I'm on
Because
it. I'm
nobody's
trying to
talking about what's her name being violent. Miss Carrie Underwood, and she dug her key into the side of his little souped up drive, mama. And
I
nobody called a little
know.
Listen, but
blonde
the thing
thing
about
see the
Carrie
violent. That's
Louisville
Underwood,
slugger in
violent.
thing
both
about
That's
Carrie
headlights.
violent.
Underwood,
That's
listen,
violent.
thing about Carrie Underwood is she is going in on the car. She's not going in on the guy to get him to the emergency room. That's the difference.
Mama.
That's the difference.
Mama.
Carrie
I love
Underwood's
Semantics.
it.
going in on the car.
Semantics. But it's still violent. Whether it's violent, violence is violence.
There's a literal law called crime of passion law, to where if you walk in on your person, and it's not legal in all states, but I think it is here in Alabama. But if you walk in
Definitely
on
in Florida.
it is okay. You walk in on your person and they're banging somebody, and it just kind of takes you to a different zone. I'm not condoning this, so let's everybody please get that straight. And I would never do this because I've walked in on my ex with somebody else in the bed before. Now I didn't use a gun, but I picked up the nearest object. However, you can get some people have gotten off with shooting their partner when walking in on an act out of the crime of passion law. Not condoning it, but hey, sometimes a girl got to do what she got to do.
Well, we don't do that
Right.
in the UK, so it's a little bit different over here in London. But that's
Yeah, yeah. I
lovely.
mean, you
No, you
guys don't
guys
even
just
have
colonized
guns.
the world. They just colonized the world.
what did America do? Philippines?
I'm not saying we're any better, Mama. No, no, no.
Yeah, we're the hot mess over here, baby.
I'm happy that Beyonce gave 100% writing the credit to Dolly Parton because
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think most of us
Queen.
are familiar with Beyonce not being well known for having that integrity when it comes to songwriting. She took credit for Emotions, full credit for Emotions when Emotions was a cover. She took credit for writing Irreplaceable, a song that Neo worked so hard on.
Are there times that you write songs for people and they want to take credit for it and act like you didn't write it because they want to make it seem like I did this?
That's happened before.
You talking about Beyonce, Angela Yee over there?
If you listen to my version of Irreplaceable and listen to Beyonce's version of Irreplaceable, it's two damn totally different songs with all the harmonies and extra stuff that she put in there. So yeah, I gave her writer's credit because that counts. That's writing. You know, that harmony that you put right there, that little background part, I didn't write that originally. You put that in there. So for her to take the song and make it hers, I didn't mind her saying, I wrote this for my girls at a concert or whatever the case may be, because in a way, technically, in a way, she did.
So I think there's not the best history with that. So it's really great that she gave full credit to Dolly Parton and didn't say, oh, I changed a few words, so let me treat myself as a co-writer. So I think bravo to
But
Miss
was that
Parton.
Beyonce or was that her record label? Because even her last label, I mean her last album, Renaissance, she gave credit to everybody, including
Yeah.
like T.S. Madison, including Big Frida, including like all like I don't know. I think
She
that
gave
Kevin
credit to
sometimes it
Frost.
can
Ray as well
be
from the UK. She gave
yeah.
credit to Ray. She's given credit to lots of different
But
people.
just like, okay, we got to give her credit for the moments when she does get it right, but it doesn't erase the moments that have really shafted people. I think
Well,
that
well, well,
needs to
well,
be
well
that also needs to be credited as well and be talked about as well. The moments when she didn't get it right. It's great that she got it right here with Dolly Parton.
well, let's talk about
That's
it.
fair. That's fair. That's
So
fair. That's fair.
let's talk about it. So I feel like for Beyonce to sit on an interview and be talking about certain songs and be like, I wrote this. It's not to. She never said I wrote this alone. I wrote this solely. A lot of these instances and times she's saying I wrote this song, and she is involved in the writing process. And not every time, when you say I wrote something, you know, Taylor Swift says she's written all her songs. So does Adele. I mean, there's been songs that Adele's written that she claims has written that, but that was written by a pianist. That bit of the song and those chords. So it doesn't always happen when a songwriter who claims to write all of their songs, they don't. There are typically people in a writing room. There are typically writing camps for songwriting. So around 5-6 writers will be in the room with the artist. And, when the artist's saying they're writing their song, they're instrumental in shaping the vision with those writers. But it's not to suggest that they're solely taking responsibility for it. So that's kind of how I see it.
Well, that's the
That's
hope,
fair.
right? That's the hope that it doesn't suggest that. But when you say I wrote this, for me, I'm thinking that you did it all by yourself.
Well,
That's
that's an
my
assumption.
impression. That's
That's
my
your
Yeah, but
impression.
assumption.
but I
But
can
listen,
understand what Mitch is
the
saying though.
Yeah.
the issue with it being left up to an assumption, it
Hmm.
really puts those hardworking songwriters that are not as famous as
Hmm.
Beyonce in the dark,
Hmm.
where they shouldn't be. They should be in the light along with Beyonce.
You're assuming that your entire audience knows how the music industry works, so I can understand that concept as well. I
That
can
part.
definitely see that because then you're assuming that everyone knows that. Like you say, when Beyonce says she writes a song, I can 1,000% see how everybody's saying, "Well, she wrote this
She
song."
wrote
It's like
that.
when Taylor
Right.
Swift does it. She wrote the
Yeah.
song. She's a songwriter. Like we all get it.
Yeah, I always thought Taylor wrote every single song, every word, and yeah, unless you're in that industry, you won't know.
You really won't know. So I
So
can relate to that. I can understand how you're saying that. But I kind of see what Vic's saying too, in a sense of like, Sometimes it's like 20 people, and it's like I'm not gonna sit here and name 20 people who wrote the song with me.
That's the expectation as songwriters, and maybe that's something that should change. But your expectation
That's
as a
fair.
songwriter isn't when an
That's fair.
artist goes out and represents your song, they're going to name you. That's not you're
Like
gonna
we
get the
don't know
money.
Candy writes
You're
songs.
you're
We
gonna
have
get
no
the
idea.
money, you're gonna get them royalties, but are they going to mention you? Because you're not singing the track. So the person who the track, you're not being made famous by that track, because that track was written for someone. When you write something for someone, that as a songwriter, you're writing something for their use, for someone else's image. You're not a collaboration with that song. So that is an expectation that some songwriters have, but maybe there does need to be more credit of creative talent. So maybe
Yeah.
that is a fair point, Mitch.
Yeah. Because I know that with Victor, you know, we have offsets here. With Victor,
Oh,
you work hard and you work closely with writing a lot of songs. How would you
yeah.
feel if you're working hard on a song and there's someone that's working with you and their contribution is probably not as significant as yours, and you've heard them say, I wrote that song, when you know that it was you that did the massive bulk and it wasn't just them all by themselves?
That's happened, but you know what happens when you agree on the royalties is people get different royalty points for the amount of how much they wrote. So that's how the money gets distributed. It's not an even amount. People get different amounts based on the level of contribution, and that is decided after the song is written when they kind of review the contributions. And there have
And
been
what they think,
people,
yeah.
and I have split things equally with people where I haven't felt the contribution was equal necessarily. But that was the agreement that I made at that moment in time. And, you know, I stand by it and I felt that was fair in the moment. And when you think about songwriting and collaboration, it doesn't matter if someone is doing harmonies, if they're doing lyrics. When you're working in collaboration creatively, even if someone just has a little bit of an idea, they are contributing to what that song is becoming.
That's
But
fair.
maybe, you know, Mitch, you're right. Maybe I would feel a type of way, but at the end of the day, that's an agreement that I made when I put them as a writer on that song and agreed with that. I made that decision that they were a co-writer on that song and did write that
Yeah.
song.
Victor, that's a really good point because you don't, because someone can contribute to this song and really contribute to the completion of it, right? And then also Beyonce, she changed words and she really did contribute to the song kind of having a more violent edge, in my view. I think that is, well, no, I do think so.
When someone says at the bar with Mitch, when we go out to the bar, all of us, and someone says, "Should we do shots?" Mitch is at the shooting range, ready to do shots. So
We ought to just duck. As soon as don't say shoot your
let's
shot around
duck.
Mitch. You just gotta duck.
Everyone get down.
Well, everyone looking in, let us know down below which version of Jolene do you prefer, Dolly Parton's original or Beyonce's? Eric, we shouldn't look to censor Donald Trump because we don't like what he says.
He is not being censored, and I don't think that we're trying to censor him. What he cannot do is spew hate and discriminatory language on a daily basis. And then that's what
You're
we're
saying there's
discussing.
consequences.
Yeah,
There's Mitch is saying he can say what he wants because we're in America, right? But you're saying he can say what he wants, but there's consequences for that.
yeah.
Well,